Hi, Julia Watts here. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and today we're going to do project number 2 using Valerie's Pansy. There is another video, another 2 videos actually, using this stamp set, and it's one of the Flower Fairies from Fairy Hugs. I'm working my way through all the 22 of the Flower Fairies. I've done some videos and I've done some that are just cards. I haven't actually done them, but you can check on my Julia Watts Crafts Facebook page, and you can find an album containing my samples using the Flower Fairies. You can also visit my website juliawattscrafts.co.uk, and in the main menu there's a Fairy Hug section. You can do the little drop down icon and you can see where the Flower Fairies can be found, and against each of the Flower Fairies you'll find the samples from myself, and there's some from the design team on there as well. You can also find Fairy Hug stamps at fairyhugs.com for worldwide shipping. So let's crack on and let's make something. So I thought it might be quite interesting to just use a couple of the elements from the set. And we're going to really focus on this small pansy down here. So to start off, I've actually pulled a paper out of the new Fairy Hugs Pollen Wing paper pad. This was launched in January 2023. It's one of their 6x6 paper pads. There's 24 double-sided sheets, 24 designs, 2 sheets of each. Now 216 GSM. And so just a quick flick, you can see that you've got kind of scenes with ground on them, and you've got other areas that are just, you know, like a background for you to start at. There's some quite, I would say some of them are quite contemporary, but they're a really good start. They're kind of semi-coated, which means that your ink works really well on them, and so it makes life really easy. And obviously 6x6, but obviously you can cut them down, and I do have them in stock on my website. So I've actually trimmed it down to 5x5 because we're going to in fact, I didn't need to. I was using my Mama Mate's Rotate Mate, and I've got a little kind of, this is my plan, and I would suggest you do this rather than taking it directly to one of your papers, which you don't want to ruin. Do a bit of a plan. It doesn't matter what your stamping's like. See, I've missed a bit. It doesn't really matter, but you're guessing how you want things. So do I want some butterflies around the outside, or do I want to fill in with some extra pansies? You know, I haven't made my mind up yet, but that's the possibility. But because actually I think I'm not going to go for the butterflies, I'm going to fill in with the pansy. So I'm actually dealing with quarters, and because I'm dealing with quarters, you can actually just do it using your stamping platform. You don't have to bring in the Rotate Mate. If you were doing say 8s, so putting an image in here and here and here and here, then it is easier for spacing to use your Rotate Mate. Mama makes, but we don't need to. But this is a good plan to have. So what we'll do is let's show you how I'm going to use this plan. We're going to bring in this just piece of copper paper, and then we're going to take our stamp here. In fact, what we'll do first is I think we'll do the middle bits first, shall we? No, we won't. We will do the outside. I was thinking if I do the middle bit, then I won't have to worry about the ink so much, but it's all right, we'll wipe it off. So I'm going to just place my pansy roughly over where I had it before, because that's where I know I want my spacing to be. And then we're going to pick it up. Then we're going to get rid of that, and we're going to bring in the paper that I'm going to actually use, which is this one. And it's got kind of like a little sort of netted texture to it, which is really interesting. We could use that one, or we could use the lighter one. Oh, decisions. Don't know which one to use now. Let's use the darker one because I'd intended it. But of course you've got 2 sheets of each one, so it does mean that you can change your mind and you can use a different one if you want to. As this is like this, let's go for Chianti rather than the purple, because I think this Chianti is going to really work really nicely with this particular colour background. Obviously you could just go black if you wanted to. Versafine clays are excellent to use with these kind of stamps. I have just used the monarch with it, so I don't know, it might change colour and by the time we finished. So give it a good old press. Let the ink sit in and lift it up. Okay, so there's number one. I'm going to do the four corners. So you can fast forward this bit if you want to, if you don't want to watch me do four corners. Rather than just pause it, I thought I'd show you, because some people find it quite relaxing just to have videos in the background. And you can see how it builds up. So this is corner number 3. Just proving today that I can count. It's lovely. It's almost like a. It looks like it's in the purple family. This one, this Chianti. You will find all the Versafine clays on my website. If I'm out of stock of anything, you just click on the email when available button, and you'll be notified as soon as it comes back in stock. I do try and keep the majority of the Fairy Hug stamps in stock, and also the Versafine clays. So obviously I want something to fill in the gap there, and I did have a go. I did think I might want to use a trail of butterflies, but I'm actually thinking that just putting another pansy head will make it nice and complete. So we can use the one that's on there, or we can use this one. Actually, I think I do prefer the one that we're actually using there, so let's use that. And so we don't make a mess, let's grab, I've got a piece of acetate, must have somewhere, let me just grab one. That'll do. Obviously with these, the acetate's big, but you can just use a piece of acetate out of one of your smaller sets, just to get the positioning. Obviously I could bring this in and I could use this, but you know, once you're going, you might as well just stick with what you know. So we know that that is going to go perhaps in between there. Like all that, that'll be good. Remove that, and what I've got is I've just taken a little bit of low-tack tape. This is Scotch low-tack tape. I've lost my dispenser, it's somewhere in my boxes, and you can see I've already been using it, so you can use it a few times. So I tend to ink it first using the same colour. Let's have some more magnets. Because obviously I've gone over the edge and I've made a mess. Let's tidy it up. We can take this and stand up so I can see, and we can just go over with the tape and hide that area. I've got an extra little bit of tape here because obviously I've only just inked, and there might be a little bit of ink down there. And then we can stamp. So we're only going to stamp the areas where the tape isn't. Okay, so there's our little Pansy. There's a tiny little bit extra there. It doesn't matter. I pointed it out to you, but you probably wouldn't notice it. Then obviously you're going to turn it and you're going to do this 4 times as well, because you're going to fill in the gaps to make a nice frame. So one key thing to remember is to take your tape off first to one side and then ink again, and then you can put the tape on again. If you need to stamp again because you've not stamped very well, remember, take the tape off, re-ink, put the tape back on again, and then re-stamp. You'll forget. At some point you will definitely forget. We've all done it. That's why sometimes practicing is a good idea. So that your mistakes hopefully come out in your practice run. I mean, obviously you could fill in other things in the gap. We've got bees. You could actually just add in another one of these, but then you'd just be overlapping a little bit, you know. But if you went down to a smaller area, to 4 by 4, then these corners are going to be closer, so you might like that. Or if you adjust the angle slightly, it will always be different. So we turned it, take off our bit of tape, re-ink. Or you might find that you want to use a bigger area, so you want to say 5.5 by 5.5 rather than 5 by 5. As I said, I was using a Rotate Mate, and the largest you can go is 5 by 5. So that's why I've trimmed it. But you know, you kind of work these things out as you're going along, and then we just pop that there. So you should be able to do all 4 of these with the same pieces of tape, and then obviously you just bin it. Okay, so one more, and then we've got our little frame. Now it's up to you whether you colour it in. I might, but I just want to really show you the stamping. If I end up colouring it in, you'll see the coloured in version at the start of the video, in what YouTube call the thumbnail. And obviously when I share it on social media and pop it into the album on my Facebook page, you will see it coloured in. I might just add a little bit of something to the face. Sometimes pansies have a different colour at the top to the bottom, or sometimes it's just that what they call the beard is a different colour. So it doesn't matter, it's stamped. You don't have to actually know what pansies are supposed to look like. You can do them however you want. That's the beauty of stamping something. You do whatever you want. If you want to have, you know, lime green in the middle, you can absolutely do that. Okay, so there's all of our bits and pieces. Let's get rid of that. I stick it anywhere. I'll clean up that mess before I stick my fingers in it. Okay, so there's our kind of frame. I mean, you could come in here now, going off at tangents, as you do. You look at something and you think, oh, we could do that. You could also bring in, because we've got them, you could bring in some butterflies. Bear with me. If you get bored, like I say, you can fast forward. You might want another magnet or 2 for this one. And do we want to have a different colour? I don't know if I do. What colours are there? Let's go for another purple, and we'll go for Purple Delight. So we've got that one there, and it being exactly the same place. same place here. So it's not difficult, is it? It's really easy. This sort of stamping is quite, I find, quite therapeutic, because you don't have to think about it. It's just all about patterns. I'm just like keeping it really simple, really easy. Now let's see how that looks as to whether I want to add any more. I like my lines on my paper to be that way, so that's how it will sit. I quite like that. Do I want to add an extra butterfly? I don't know. So you'd actually take your acetate and think, yeah, let's add an extra butterfly. Because you can. Right, so bring in that scrappy piece of acetate. And we're going to have a butterfly about there. Just clean that just in case. Pick it up. Get rid of the acetate. Bring in some magnets. And we'll repeat again. Purple to light again. I'm not trying to be symmetrical. If I wanted to be exact, I'd use my rotate mate. But in this instance, I'm not. I'm just using the stamping platform. I must get some more stamping platforms because I haven't got any stock at the moment. And one more, I think. Yes, one more. I do tend to get carried away with this sort of stamping. You can go on forever. You could bring the bees in rather than butterflies, but these are all from the same set. They're great value because you can do all your scene building. The only thing you might want to bring in is a sentiment, but of course that's optional. You don't have to bring in sentiments either. Let's bring in Valerie. I say I like to have my, let's have the lighter area at the top actually, and I like to have my lines going that way because then they are rectangular rather than square. Put all my 4 magnets on, and then we'll bring in, so check, I did check she fitted, so she's going to be flying that way. So there won't be a sentiment on this one. Make sure that's butted into the corner. And so we've used Chianti and Purple Violet. Let's keep in the theme of purples and let's bring in Monarch. So we'll have used the 3 VersaFine colours for this. Purple tones. There is another purple called Fantasia. Right, I think that's a more of a blue purple. Whereas these are kind of more pinky reddy purples. She's well inked. Now none of these stamps I've had to do a second time. They've all stamped beautifully on this paper. That's the quality of the stamp, nice juicy ink pads, and the quality of the paper. And just taking my time rather than rushing. Yeah, she's perfect. Okay, so that's our card done. So I might add a bit of colour, but I might not. I actually quite like it in the monotone, but you'll see something different. So I just mat it onto a piece of black card. I might go around the edges with perhaps some saltwater taffy, distress oxide, but I think that's made a really lovely card, don't you? So yes, so don't forget the paper is from the Pollen Wing paper pad, and then it's Valerie's Pansy and the 3 different versifying clays. Really easy to do. Just take your time, relax, and you'll find all the products used on my website, juliawattscrafts.co.uk, for shipping to UK addresses, and outside the UK you'll find the Fairy Hugs stamps and papers at fairyhugs.com. And just thank you so much for watching, and do make sure that you catch my other videos. There's 2 more with Valerie's Pansy, and lots and lots of other videos on my YouTube channel. So thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.